Aw yeah, Rivers here, and today I'm going to show you the Zidoo X9 Android Media Player. This player is one of the only Android players with working HDMI recording. In this video I'll show you around the player and how the HDMI recording works. The Zidoo X9 is a media player based on Android KitKat 4.4.2 and it's running the ZIUI launcher. Here you can see the ZIUI launcher, which looks different than anything I've seen before. I really like its looks, and it's optimized to work with a toggle remote control. The 3D animation looks really cool, and it can output all the way up to 4K. The player itself has a quad-core M-Star CPU, 2GB of DRAM, and 802.11n dual-band Wi-Fi. It's got a solid aluminum body and an LED clock on the front. The Zidoo X9 has all the ports you'll need, including 3 USB ports, one of which is a USB 3.0 port. It's also got a microSD card slot, which I've tested on cards up to 128GB. On the back, it's got an Ethernet port, optical audio out, HDMI input port for recording, an analog audio output, and your 4K HDMI 1.4b port. Video playback on the Zidoo is very solid. That's probably its greatest strength. The M-Star chip on this player is actually from China's biggest digital and analog LCD television chip supplier, so they know how to make video playback smoothly. I've tested this player on Kodi 14, MX Player, and Arcos Video Player, and all of video playback was very smooth in 1080p and even 4K. The manufacturer even advertises 3D video playback, although I did not try to test it. Now let's take a look at the HDMI capture function of the Zidoo X9. So here's the application that you'll use. You've got settings for quality, for file type, and over here you've got the times for your recording. So to set up a recording, you go in here and you can set in a date and time that you want the recording to start. Then you'd go into your satellite box or cable box, and there's usually an option in there to make it turn on onto a certain channel at a certain time for external recording. So you can see here it's set to record to the internal memory, but this device only has 8 gigs of memory, so you're going to need a lot more. That's why you need a flash drive like this. This is my Lexar 128GB USB 3 thumb drive. You can record directly from the Zidoo to this drive and store many hours of video this way. Now let's take a look at the recording quality. So I've hooked up the USB thumb drive, go back to the HDMI capture, and up here at the top I'm going to select the USB option and not the internal storage option. We'll go to the top quality and we'll go ahead and hit start record. So I've got a media player running Windows 8 feeding the Zidoo HDMI in, and I'll go ahead and play a video file on there so that we can take a look at the quality. And it's recording all this, so then I'll play back the recorded file and you can see how the recorded file's quality looks as well. Now this is the raw file straight off the thumb drive, and I've inserted it into the video, and I think it looks terrific. And the file size isn't bad either. It's about 30 megabytes per minute. So that gets you 4,266 minutes or 71 hours on this 128 gig thumb drive. Not too bad. Now let's take a quick look at the included remote, because it's actually a pretty useful remote, especially with the way the launcher runs on there. So it's an infrared remote control, which means you'll need to point it at the box to use it, and you'll mostly be using it to navigate up, down, left, right to get where you want to go. It's got one handy trick that a lot of toggle remotes don't have though, and that's called mouse mode. Hit the mouse mode button and then you can make a mouse pointer appear on the screen and drive it around with the up, down, left, right buttons. And the difference between this one and other ones is it moves fairly fast, so it's actually pretty usable. This way, if you get caught in an app and the remote control won't do it for you, you can get the mouse mode out and click what you need to click to get going. One more nice feature of the Zidoo is it's got a nice remote control app using your smartphone. You have to go to Zidoo's website to download the app instead of the Google Play Store, but after that the app works really well. You can toggle around just like you could with the remote, but it's more responsive, or it's also got a built-in Air Mouse app as well. You can even use the app to take screenshots whenever you want. And finally, you can bypass the menus on the player and directly launch apps from the remote's software. Well, that wraps up my review of the Zidoo X9 Android Media Player with HDMI Capture. I'll add a link to a really good price on the X9 in the video description down below. I'll also list the pros and cons that I discovered during testing the Zidoo in the description as well. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a ton, and it notifies you whenever I release a new video. Also, if you want to get even more info from me, like me on Facebook where I release sneak previews and do giveaways. Thanks again for watching, and as always, aloha.